Now, when the world leaders went to visit Trump, he had this big kind of bookcase, and obviously it didn't have books on it. It had baseball caps, and the baseball
Yes.
cap said Trump 2028. I mean, what is that all about?
Yeah, there's some question about whether he is actually going to leave the White House. Like, I think if he we saw what happened the last time he lost an election. He threw
No.
an absolute hissy fit, that, resulted in people trying to hang his vice president. Maybe he'll rig it, and then we just won't have to worry about all the military shit, so
What a choice. Crikey. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Washington to Westminster, the unique US and UK unifying YouTube channel you definitely need. My name's Matt Johnston. I host a show called The Interesting Times, and from the state of the states is the Phoenix News Network's Andrea Bridger-Smith. Now, Andrea, on last week's show, we talked about your vice president visiting our country, and the week before that, we talked about the president visiting. So it seems only fair we start this week's show talking about our prime minister visiting your big, beautiful land.
Yes, well, he got here just in time for "the city's been militarized" part. Well timed, Starmer.
Yeah, yeah. No, oh, that's interesting. I hadn't thought of that. Yes. Do you think he was on a bit of a cleanup operation once he knew all these people were turning up?
Yes, yes. It's like, okay, we need to move the homeless somewhere else because we got all these European world leaders coming in. So clean the place up, National Guard.
Yeah. Yeah. The in-laws are coming. Right. So not only Keir Starmer, of course, but Volodymyr Zelensky. There was a whole load of other European heavy hitters too. So let's have a look at the photo, Andrea, shall we? So taking from Zelensky and moving left, actually right as we look at it, there's Germany's new Chancellor, Friedrich Merz, the EU Commissioner, Ursula von der Leyen, Starmer, of course, and a chap called Petteri Orpo. Do you know who Petteri Orpo is?
I'm afraid I don't.
The Finnish Prime Minister. Uh, the Finnish obviously know a little bit about being under Russian rule, don't they?
Right, right.
And did you know, Andrea, that they are the first country in Europe to give universal suffrage? So very much the anti-Putin candidate there. Then the ridiculously tall Mark Rutte, who is NATO's Secretary General, the Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, and standing right there is the French President Macron.
And you know what? Looking at this, I have to say, a pretty attractive bunch compared to some countries' world leaders. No need to say which one. It looks like the steady diet of cheese and wine and cod is working well for everyone over there.
Yeah, it does look, they do look somewhat sort of relaxed amongst each other, don't they? Now, the two things I love about this photo is how they are all looking and listening to Zelensky to show their support for him. But also, they obviously decided that they needed a meeting away from the press circus that Trump has, each and every time. So they decided to have it in the one place they know he would never go, a room full of books. Very much Trump's kryptonite, right? I don't know if it's the library, but he's going to look in and kind of go, "What? Not here. No, this has got no TV screens whatsoever. Next room."
Hard pass. Yeah, they could have also had this meeting at a salad bar. I think that would have worked well too. I do have to say it's very nice of everyone to come over here and babysit these negotiations between Trump and Zelensky. So they're a little bit like daycare workers. In case Trump
Yeah.
started to pop off on Zelensky again, like he did last time, they could be like, now, let's use our inside voice. Let's see, do you want to play with the nuclear football while the rest of us go have a little chat?
I did see, good point. I did see a tweet which says, when you have this many world leaders coming to visit you, it isn't a meeting, it's an intervention.
Well, then they should probably just stay put because we have lots of things that require intervening. So just don't go home. Stay
Yeah,
here.
yeah, that I can see a few problems with that, but yes, okay. Andrea, I have to ask though, what is because I can honestly say there is a certain amount of confusion when it comes to Europe over Trump's approach to Putin.
Mm.
Obviously, those disgraceful scenes where he was basically literally rolled out the red carpet for him in that big banner saying Alaska 2025. and then
Right,
driving off in the Beast, and you could see how delighted Putin was with the whole thing.
right.
And the Ukrainians were appalled by it. I know a lot of people in Europe were appalled by it, but I'm aware as well that this is very much a European war. What is the mood in the US to the UK Ukraine-Russia war? I mean, is there a sense that this is Europe's problem, or is there a real desire to help?
For the most part, there is a desire to help. So there was a new YouGov poll that just came out, and it showed that most Americans want to either increase or maintain the amount of aid that we are sending to Ukraine. So there's pretty strong support for them overall, and not so much for Russia. And of course, shipping bombs to other countries is kind of our love language. Um, but only about 35% of Americans approve of how Donald Trump is handling the war, but to those people, I would say, the people who disapprove, don't worry. If you don't like what Donald Trump is doing, all you have to do is wait 5 minutes and he'll probably change his mind.
Yes.
Last week he was palling around with Putin. This week he's like, "Well, maybe we'll send some peacekeeping forces." I don't know, so it changes constantly. The man doesn't know where Ukraine is, much less his position on the country.
Wow. Yeah. What's that saying? I'm sure somebody out there in YouTube land will be able to inform me as well, either that I've done the incorrect saying or who came up with a saying initially, which is, "These are my policies. If you don't like them, I have others."
Right,
That's
exactly.
again, I straight away I know I've misquoted it, but anyway, somebody I'm sure will be able to give me the correct quote. I have a theory on this. It's not a pleasant one, but I think because I'm looking at it thinking to myself, "Well, hang on a minute. This is the perfect opportunity for Europe to be able to garner some sort of, as you say, peacekeeping troops together
Right.
and be able to push that into Russia." Because it's all right talking about, well, this is Russia, Ukraine sort of thing, but Russia doesn't think that. It's been quite happy to use China, to use North Korea, to use other sort of, Belarus as well, in order to sort of boost itself. But I have a theory on that, which is that in a sense, everybody's acutely aware of America and Trump, essentially, about the fact that should we decide to do that, Trump may turn around and say, they're just messing up my chance to get a peace deal here. So
Yeah.
maybe I think there's a part of me sitting there thinking that Trump could end up supporting Russia. I know it sounds ridiculous, or at least on any other timeline, any other president, it might have done, but I think that's a bit of a worry at the back of people's minds.
Yeah, I mean, given how unpredictable he's been, pretty much forever, I think that's a very valid concern that, yeah, what happens if we all throw in our lot with, Ukraine, and then he decides he's on the other side, then what are we gonna be at war with America now? Like, it's a messy situation, and
Yeah.
I think there's one world leader who is thrashing around like a bull in a china shop, and there's a whole bunch of other ones who are very quietly, very diplomatically, just trying to keep the wheels on the bus?
Yeah. They're doing all the right thing, playing to his ego. I mean, it's the old sort of
Yeah.
thing that you spoke about before, Andrea. I know. And there's that one shot. Oh, honestly, but I get it. There's that one shot where he sat in his big leather chair, and they're all sat round like they're there to, at a bank asking asking for a loan or something.
Right.
Um, and it does sicken me, but I get it as well. I get that you have to swallow your pride and go there and act like you're the guy. Oh, President Trump, what a guy. That's even if your inner voice is screaming, "Who the fuck is this moron?"
Well,
Um,
if it makes them feel any better, that's pretty much what he's been doing with Putin, so.
fair enough. Fair enough. Maybe, here's the thing, Andrea, maybe we're doing him a great disservice because do you know that Trump claims to have been the peacemaker, I beg your pardon, on 6 deals between 12 countries. Have you heard that one?
No, but that doesn't surprise me.
Okay, so how many of these countries do you think we can name, A, and B, I've actually got it up here, so I might have a look in a little bit. B, how many of those do you think are genuine, peace deals? He's desperate for that Nobel Prize, isn't he?
He is. It's weird how fixated he is on
Yeah.
that. I mean, I'm glad that he wants to wage peace, and I hope that we're wrong and that he can actually do that. But
Yeah.
given how competent he is at everything else, you know,
Yes.
um, let's see. I'm going to start with I think the conflict over in Azerbaijan. I think he took credit for that, even though I don't think he has ever spoken to anybody in that country, and indeed has absolutely no idea where it is.
Yeah. Can you name the other country? It begins with an A also. I've got my glasses on. Forgive the reflection, everyone.
Armenia, isn't it?
Well done. Nice. Two former Soviet republics. Uh, they signed a peace agreement ending a decades-long war and gave Trump ample praise for his efforts at the ceremony. I kind of get the feeling they were virtually there anyway, but you know what? Good stuff. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Africa next. What do you reckon?
Africa next.
Let me put it this way.
Gosh,
One country you won't be surprised by. Let me put it that way.
South Sudan, maybe?
Oh, my African geography is a bit all over the place. You're close with South Sudan. Let me put it
Okay.
that way. But it's a country that we've mentioned for a different reason on our show before.
Rwanda?
Here we go. And the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Ah,
He mentioned that there was a treaty between the African nations in a June 20th social media post, crediting Secretary of State Marco Rubio for helping to bring them together. I do notice that this is a peace agreement rather than a we're not going to fight anymore agreement. It's a ceasefire, I beg your pardon, a ceasefire rather than a peace agreement.
okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's going to take a little bit further to sort of push it along. Um, the next two are unsurprisingly in the Middle East, and one let's be honest, both of them probably aren't going to surprise you. They've been in the news.
I don't think he can take credit for Israel and Gaza because they are still
No,
very much shooting at each other.
yeah, Israel's one though.
Israel and Iran.
Yeah, yeah, and you remember,
Okay.
of course, that actually Obama had a peace agreement in place with Iran, which Trump tore up.
Right.
He then proceeded to bomb Iran, didn't he? All its nuclear sites. He said, well, they can't do half of these things now. And then, yeah. Um, India and Pakistan is the next two,
Huh.
even though India says he's never been to he's never, no doubt he's been to the country, but he's taken no part in the
Right.
agreement. Uh,
Again, I think he would if you asked him who's in charge of Pakistan, I do not think he would know.
no, no. And finally, Cambodia and Thailand. Uh, they agreed
Mm,
again to a ceasefire after 5 deadly days of fighting. Um, Trump urged them to negotiate a ceasefire as trade deals with the governments would stall. But that's kind of where we are. He's
okay.
also cited, I beg your pardon, I was sitting there thinking, oh, that's five, isn't it? Ethiopia and Egypt. But there's been no
Okay.
war or peace agreement between the countries. So it's just like he's just picking countries at random. So out of those six, he could probably take credit for two. One that
Well, let's call the Nobel Committee. I mean,
yeah, one that's maybe happening already, and one that's not really a peace agreement. But anyway, there we go. So
but the
Andrea,
two
what?
biggest wars going on in the world right now, not not really not getting there.
Yeah, yeah, we'll take whatever. Absolutely. So Andrea, what else has been happening over there?
Well, there has been a bit of fun happening over here, which is a nice change, and that is with California Governor Gavin Newsom, who is known primarily for having both perfect hair and teeth. He is very much expected to run for president in 2028 because it is never too soon to start talking about the next presidential election. I know how much you guys love to do that over there. And he has been basically throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks. And he seems to have finally found something that's breaking through, which is trolling Donald Trump.
Okay, interesting. I imagine as well that that's relatively easy to do.
It turns out it is. So, just for a bit of context, before he kind of did this tactic. He did a podcast where he talked with a lot of figures in right wing media to try and reach across the aisle. And I am certainly all for bipartisanship. I don't like the division in this country. I would like for us to work together to solve problems instead of constantly fighting each other. But it feels a lot like when Democrats try and reach across the aisle that their arms keep getting caught in a bear trap. It's just a thing I've noticed. Also, I don't think people in government should have podcasts. Like Ted Cruz has 2 or 3 of them.
Really?
You have work to do. No podcasts until you've eradicated homelessness and hunger and maybe fix the goddamn economy instead of doing interviews.
Yeah, I mean, that's more than a little bit cheeky, isn't it? I think you're right when it comes to sort of reaching out, as it were, to the other side. Part of the problem it seems to be with Republicans, certainly with MAGA Republicans, is there's a certain point where you have to spend so long trying to explain reality to them
Yeah.
that, you're then like, oh, we've run out of time, so I got no chance to deliver everything else, and then you have to start again. It's Groundhog Day, I suppose, isn't it? Um,
It is, and there's lots of articles about, like, how to talk to the other side, how to Jedi mind trick them into, at least letting some of the questions penetrate because
mm,
what's hard about it is, yeah, both sides are operating with a completely different set of facts, and it's really hard to if we could agree on what the facts were and then have opinions of like,
yeah,
one way or the
yeah.
other, then that might be easier, but it's just a completely different set of facts.
Absolutely. Anyway, I beg your pardon. You're talking about Gavin Newsom and the fact that he's trolling Trump.
Yes, so he's pivoted away from this podcast thing, and now he is using Trump's signature, all caps, completely insane style for his own social media posts. Here is one that reads, Dana Ding Dong Perino, never heard of her until today, is melting down because of me, Gavin C. Newsom. Fox hates that I am America's most favorite governor, ratings king, saving America, while Trump can't even conquer the big stairs on Air Force One anymore. Trump has lost his step, and Fox is losing it because when I type, America now wins. Thank you for your attention to this matter, GCN. Now
Um,
it's not exactly saving democracy, but it's fun. And this particular tweet is in response to Dana Perino, who's a right wing news person, saying that as governor, Gavin Newsom needs to be a little bit more serious, with the type of tweets he put out there, which is hilarious because this is the exact same style that Trump uses.
yes, exactly. So you mentioned that Gavin Newsom could be the Democrats' pick for president next time.
He is certainly trying very hard to become the nominee. He has started, I think he started probably 2 years ago, trying to become the nominee for 2028, and there's a good chance that that could happen. I would say he's the front runner right now, but the thing that I think Democrats need to be cautious about is having these like very polished candidates who don't seem, real at all. So Donald Trump certainly, for whatever his faults, and people seem to think he's some kind of like common man, even though he has gold toilets, because he just kind of says whatever he wants. He has no filter, and he, doesn't like he connects with people because he will just tell them what he's actually thinking. So I think Gavin Newsom is a guy that is very polished, very professional. I mentioned the perfect hair and the perfect teeth. I think the Democrats need somebody that feels a little bit more real in order to succeed. So that's that's my take on it, at least.
Well, you mentioned it's a few years away, so they've got that time, obviously, to sort the wheat from the chaff, as it were. Now, when the world leaders went to visit Trump, he had this big kind of bookcase, and obviously it didn't have books on it. It had baseball caps, and the baseball
Yes.
cap said Trump 2028. I mean, what is that all about?
Yeah, there's some question about whether he is actually going to leave the White House. Like, I think if we saw what happened the last time he lost an election. He threw
Yeah.
an absolute hissy fit that, resulted in people trying to hang his vice president. Given that Trump 2.0 is about doing everything bigger and badder, uh, there's, the odds that he would lose the election and be like, well, I guess I lost fair and square. I'll be off. See you guys. Good luck, and let me know how it goes. Like, it's just not going to happen. The only way that we will be rid of this guy is when, his heart finally explodes from all of the Big Macs. So until then, he's going to be very loud. So yeah, that's it's scary. It's scary to think about what would happen if he lost the election, but maybe he'll rig it and then we just won't have to worry about all the military shit. So
What a choice. Crikey.
yeah. So what about you? Is there anything else going on that's been interesting over on your side of the pond?
Yeah, a little bit of something. So we're not quite having the race riots that we had last summer.
Uh-huh.
We're more having a way of race flags. I mean,
Oh,
it's an improvement, right?
okay. Is Formula One in town? Are they checkered flags?
Not quite. So several individuals, a large number of individuals, have decided to launch Operation Raise the Colours, and you'll never guess what it involves.
I mean, sounds like a real head scratcher. I'm stumped.
People are randomly putting up English and Union flags across the country, as you would probably more likely refer to them, Union Jacks across the country. And it's caused quite the stir, as you can imagine, or maybe you can't. I sometimes think we're quite unique when it comes to getting worked up over flags.
Oh no, we can definitely get worked up over flags. So what's the goal of this? Why are we putting up so many flags? Is that going to fix austerity measures for pensioners or?
I'm not an economic expert, but I'm going to go with no. So the whole thing's been quite divisive, really. Some people are saying if you're in England, why can't you fly the English St. George's flag? Others are saying that it seems that after all the protests over immigrants that we spoke about last time, that there could be a more sinister tone to it, shall we say.
Okay, so I'm not familiar with the St. George's flag. What is that supposed to represent?
It's basically the England flag. It's the red cross on the white background. It's that one.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, it's all been exasperated by right-wing politicians. As you can imagine, it's all like they're all there poking the bear, as you Americans will want to say. They want to tell sections of society that the problem is liberal elites running the country. They're not even allowed to be proud anymore, proud of their country, etc.
Okay. So they're putting up flags, but they're not allowed to be proud, which that's interesting. And they also want people to be prouder of the country that they think sucks because it's being run by liberal elites. I'm not sure that I'm following all the logic here.
Yeah, yeah, me neither. But it seems to beat nothing, does it? No, it doesn't. Okay.
Well, this is interesting. We're having something similar over here right now, where Donald Trump has taken aim at museums of all things. And I'm sure that once he gets done with museums, he'll maybe finally do something about lowering grocery prices. But yes, now he has decided that museums are too woke. Here is a post from him. I'll do the voice. The Smithsonian is out of control, where everything discussed is how horrible our country is, how bad slavery was, and how unaccomplished the downtrodden have been. Nothing about success, nothing about brightness, nothing about the future. So I'm with him. I'm all for talking about the good stuff that our country has done.
Mm,
That's sure. But the thing is that a lot of the Smithsonian museums actually do that. Like the Air and Space Museum is 3 whole floors of look at how awesome America is. Look at all this cool shit we built. Now, he may be referring to the African American History and Culture Museum. And I guess in his ideal world, he wants the exhibits to be like Africans came over here on boats at the let's say, pointed request of white people, yada, yada, yada. Martin Luther King, thank you. Please exit through the gift shop. I think that we can all agree that slavery was kind of a big deal and
yeah,
that we should both cover it. And when we do, we should make sure that it's bad.
yeah. And how bad slavery was, that's because slavery was bad.
Yes, it's kind of a no-brainer. You really don't need a whole museum exhibit to tell you that, but if there is a museum exhibit, it should tell you that.
Yes. Well, that's interesting. So the Smithsonian, I always thought was just a name for a particular museum, but they have one for each section, I suppose you could say, of American history. Do they have one for presidents as well?
Um, there I don't think there's one specifically for presidents. There is one that's like a history museum, and, Donald Trump, there is an impeachment section in the presidential part of that museum, Donald Trump wanted to take out the parts about him being impeached, because 'cause he's been impeached twice. Unfortunately, it didn't result in his removal from office, but, yeah, he went and wanted to take that out, and it's like, this is a history museum. History is about things that happened, and one of the things that happened with impeachments was you. So, you can't change history, but it's very much, authoritarian playbook, let's erase all the stuff that we don't like, and let's put in stuff that we do like, and it's like, you know that all this stuff exists somewhere, right? Like, you can't eradicate it from everywhere.
Yes, despite your best efforts. I think it would be excellent as well to have him stuffed once he does pass over, as it were. And then you could sort of either have him in the museum or have him as part of the early man, sort of, I could imagine him loached over like that with a club, wearing kind of like one of those, leopard skin sort of onesies that you see them wear. That big sort of sulking look on his face.
Yeah, he does do that thing where he, like, leans forward when he stands, so that could work if we just put a spear in his hand. All right, well, that is all that we have time for today. But if you want more from the Eastern Atlantic, check out Matt's channel, The Interesting Times, and boy, aren't they. We will be back here next week with more from the US side, but until then, lots of new content coming out every day, so please subscribe to both channels so you don't miss a thing. Take care.
Bye-bye.